What's up, everybody? Nicholas Kuzmich here from nicholaskuzmich.com, and in this training, we're going to talk about lead nurture, aka what to do when your leads don't buy. Because here's the truth, most of them are not going to buy from you, at least not right away. And if we kind of just ignore them, or we don't have the right approach for them, then things can go wrong, or we can leave a lot of opportunity on the table. So in this training, we're going to talk about how to do just that, how to nurture the lead, how to warm up a lead in a way that doesn't come across too aggressive, that doesn't reduce your email list, but still gets the right people buying at the right time in droves to make sure that you're not wasting any of your lead efforts. Hey, before we begin, I've got a great new training bundle out there that I'd love for you to have. Right now, we're running this promotion where you can essentially name your own price, pay what you want, above a minimum suggested price. All you got to do is go to nicstraining.com, N-I-C-S training.com. Go read all about it there and you'll be able to get your training. So let's jump right in. If you know anything about me right now, you'll know that I love to use advertising, specifically Facebook ads, to generate leads much more than just to drive the sales. And we all know that most people require multiple touch points before ever making a buying decision, right? We know that most people, when they are first presented an offer, even if they want to buy, are going to push that offer off until a later time before they make that decision to buy. So what do we use Facebook for? Well, we use Facebook to bring leads into our system. Some people in our industry call that a funnel, right? Or a sales process. But the point is, how do we extend our hand, start a relationship with somebody that way, and then take care of that person so that whenever they are ready, they can go ahead and making a buying decision that works for them. Now, here's why I believe lead generation is so important, right? If we just have this little diagram here, right? We're going to say that people are either going to say yes to our offer or no to our offer, obviously, and they are either going to buy now or not now, right? So right off the bat, if we're looking at it from this way, these people don't matter, right? Because they're not going to buy from us now, they're not going to buy from us not now, so we don't really have to spend too much time thinking about it. But these people is where we have to start paying attention. And here's what consumer studies show us. Consumer studies show us that, let me just use red here. These consumer studies show us that those people who are going to buy now, and how they define now, they have found that 50% of people who inquire about something end up purchasing that thing. So think about that. If there's 100 people who go out looking for a washer and a dryer, consumer studies show that 50% of the people will end up buying a washer or dryer. Now, it doesn't mean they'll buy it from the original source that they looked at it from, but they end up buying. So this here now represents the 50% who say yes, right? If they're not going to buy now and they're not going to buy now, don't worry about that 50%. But above the line, the 50% who are going to buy, here's what consumer studies show us. That 15% of those people will buy now, and they define now as between 0 to 90 days, okay? That will then mean that 85% of the people who are going to buy between day 91 and get this, 2 years. Now just let that sink in for a second. If all you do and all you're focusing on are the people who are going to buy now, and in other words, you're just putting it up an offer, you're saying buy now or die, right? Essentially, if you don't get this thing right now, you're never going to get the opportunity. Think about that. You are leaving at least 85% of the opportunity on the table, right? But it's not even 85% of the opportunity, because most of our modern sales processes, most of our modern funnels don't extend out to 90 days. Most of us extend it out to 7 days, maybe 14 days, something like that. And after that, what do we call them? Dead leads, right? Non-buyers. When essentially the 15% of the people who are going to buy now are going to buy between day 0 and 90. And then the other percent, 85%, are going to buy between day 91 and 2 years. So if that is the case, the question right now is, what are you doing for the people, the majority of your buyers who are leads, who kind of opted into, let's say, your email list or opted in for something, and who are not buying now? Right? Most people just put them on a newsletter, email them out, and so be it. Now, I'm going to encourage you that we do not want to ignore the 85% of the leads who are ready to buy. It's just not now. Now, there's only two times, as Dean Jackson says, now and not now, and now will come around for them eventually. But the question is, what do we do with these folks? Now, here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest that these folks need to be, quote unquote, nurtured. They need to be taken care of and not just bombarded with offer after offer after offer, but provided a ton of value in advance so that whenever they are ready, they will end up transacting with you. So the question then is, how do we present content in such a way that builds value for that individual so that when they are ready, we've built up enough goodwill so that they do decide to transact with us? So I want you to think about this now from a content perspective, that your prospect, your lead that is sitting in this bucket here is at point A, and they're trying to get to point Z. Right? Whatever that is, whether it's they're trying to lose weight, they're trying to build a business, they're trying to be a better parent, they're trying to get their kid to stop crying, right? Whatever it is, that person, the only reason why they're thinking about or engaged in your product and or service is because they're on a timeline trying to get from point A to point Z. And so when we think about content that we need to distribute out to our 85% leads, when we're thinking about our ideal prospect and we're thinking about content to distribute out to them, here's how I like to see it. In fact, before we continue, if you are serious about getting training that helps you write better ads, training that helps you have a process to convert leads into customers and make irresistible offers, go to nicstraining.com, NICS-training.com. We've got the special promotion where you can pay what you want, name your own price above a minimum suggested bid, and you can get some of our latest training now to help you get even better results with your campaigns. Now, back to this idea, right? If we're thinking from a content perspective, I'm going to say that content needs to be distributed to this 85% from day one or day zero, essentially, or day 91 over a 2-year period. How do we think about framing this content? Because we don't want to just throw content out there. We want to be thinking about specific types of content. So if they're going from point A to point Z, I want you to think about the milestones that they need to cross in order to get there. Right? Because no one's going to go from A to Z just like that. Nobody accomplishes their overall goal just like that. There's got to be steps and milestones to get there. And this is what I will then call what makes up the framework for your pillar content. So if I was thinking about it from an ads perspective, if someone who's never written an ad before and they need to get to the place of proficiency in ads where they write ads that convert, there's a couple things they need to know, right? One of the things is how to select great images. Right? Another thing could be how to write great copy. Another thing could be how to set up the ads manager and how to structure campaigns in certain ways, and so on and so forth. So what I've done now is put in my mind's eye pillar content in chronological order, ideally, but pillar content that now sits as the bedrock of, hey, when I need to come up with content, I know exactly what I need to provide to get them from point A to point Z. And that is now the content that makes up your emails and your mirror campaigns on ads. Because if we can help people get a step closer, right, as Kern calls it, providing results in advance, this is what helps build the goodwill to create the transaction. So when we're thinking about this then, I like to think about it a couple of ways, but here's one of the main ways. I kind of call it the content trifecta, if you will. If you see it, your content should do one of three things, and ideally, if it could do all three, even better, right? It needs to educate, because if it can educate, and I think this just goes back to like when we were in school and we sit in a chair and somebody's teaching us something. When it educates, what education does is it builds authority. When we can teach something new to somebody, it builds perceived authority in our marketplace, right? The second thing it needs to do is engage. Now, how can we engage in a non-two-way dialogue? Look, if you were to think about what are some of the main points, and then you communicate that in your video to say, hey, look, we just surveyed a whole bunch of people in this industry, and they had said that these are the top 3 things that they need to know in order to get a better result. That's almost engagement, because that person on the other end is feeling like, yeah, that's actually it. That person gets me. So engage, our content needs to, and what that does is it builds trust and bonding, right? And the third thing it needs to do, let me make sure I spell this right, inspire. Because if you can inspire somebody towards their goal and they get it, that builds loyalty, right? So when we are thinking about these content pieces, one of my favorite ways to do this is what I call case study narratives. So I want to think about, okay, what are the core pillar content ideas that one needs to understand and make a part of their practice in order for them to move towards their desired goal? And then how can I teach these via case study narratives, right? So I want to be thinking about, how do we select great images, for example? I would think of a case study of someone who is choosing terrible images, a client of mine who's choosing terrible images, but then how understanding how to select great images got them an even better result. Now, what's an even better way to do this is think about all the objections that someone might encounter when they're thinking about your product or service, where that might hold them back from actually purchasing. Now, if you think about that and you say, well, what are the main objections that always come up? And then from that, how can you tell a story of a past client or customer who overcame that objection and as a result moved on to great success? Because case study narratives are such a great way to educate. They're also a great way to engage because you're actually dealing with real life issues that person might be thinking in their head. And it actually inspires because you're not just standing there saying, I'm so great, I know all this stuff, I can help you. You're actually showing how someone else got the result by deploying the techniques, right? So if you can come up with case study narratives, you are creating all this trifecta here of goodwill that's going to get that person to say, yes, I am ready. Now, we're going to be putting out this content. The frequency is up to you. I'd say at least once a week. These should go out via mirror campaigns and or emails. But here's the clincher, right? It can't be 100% content and no offer, because if you do, no one's going to ever buy anything because they're not given an opportunity to. But it can't be 100% offer, because if all you do is hit your list over and over again with saying, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, that's not going to be very helpful either, and you're going to get a whole bunch of unsubscribes. So what does it take? How do we combine the two to get sales? Okay, now again, if you're serious about understanding this kind of stuff and you want to get better results with your ad campaigns, get higher conversions, make greater offers, go to nicstraining.com, NICStraining.com. You can name your own price for my latest training bundle, and I think that'll be of huge value to you. So back to this, how then do we take this content and merge in offers without being too aggressive, if you will? And this is with what I call, and I got to give credit where credit's due, the Dean Jackson super signature. So my good friend Dean Jackson came up with this concept. I think it's brilliant. Everybody who's deployed it has found great results. And essentially, this is what happens. At the end of every content piece, you end with a PS, a super signature, a signature, right? A super signature that says this: whenever you are ready, these are the 1, 2, 3 best ways that I can help you, right? So at the end of every content piece, you say, hey, I hope you enjoyed that content. P.S. Whenever you are ready, these are the 3 best ways I can help you. Now, if you have multiple ways that people can get involved with you could have way number 1, a free opt-in or free lead magnet. Way number 2, a low ticket price or a low ticket item. Way number 3, a high ticket item, right? And that way people can get the choice. Or if you just have one offer, you say, hey, whenever you're ready, the best way I can help you is for you to go to nicstraining.com, get my latest training bundle, and learn how to write some great ads, get ads that convert for you, make irresistible offers so you see your conversion rate go through the roof. But that's the greatest part. You load up your content with some great stuff that provides great value, that educates, engages, and inspires, and then at the very end, you're like, hey, P.S., whenever you're ready, this is the best way I can help you, and you provide a link to go over there. And imagine now what happens. You have 85% of your leads, and every single time you send out a content piece, every single time you send out an email or a mirror campaign, and you end with the Dean Jackson super signature, after you've done this well, you move another person or 2 or 3, a percentage of people from not now to now. And they read the email and they're like, yeah, you know what? Now I'm ready. I am ready to do this, right? I'm ready to take that step. I'm ready to book that call. I'm ready to buy your product. I'm ready to do whatever it is that it takes to get that next step with you. So now think about this, right? Step number 1 in summary here is that the majority of the leads that you generate will not buy from you. 50% will buy, 50% won't. Of the 50% that do buy, 15% will buy from day 0 to 90, and 85% are going to buy from day 91 to 2 years. Now, if all we do is we ignore them, we ain't going to get a transaction, right? If we call them dead leads, then that's the end of it for that. But if we realize that we can nurture these leads with high value content, by thinking about content again, by generating milestones of the things that they need to accomplish to get towards their goal. And then every time we do that content, we educate, we engage, and we inspire through case study type narratives. And they don't have to all be that way, but as long as they're incorporating some of these, and then we end every content piece with a Dean Jackson super signature, as I call it, you will see that you will move more and more people from not now into now. And as long as you consistently commit to providing value to your audience, you will see that not only will you make your initial transactions from your ads and your funnels and your top of funnel stuff, but you will also make transactions along the way with every content piece that goes out. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed that training, and get this. Whenever you are ready, I encourage you to go to nixtraining.com, where you can get my latest training bundle. And in this case, you could name your own price, right? You'd pay what you want above a minimum suggested bid, get a training at a way, way, way big discount. And I just ask you to promise one thing, that you go ahead and you deploy the training. Don't just sit on it. Don't allow it to collect digital dust, right? Go ahead, use it, and then after you do and you get some great results, let me know about how all that goes. I hope that was helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you real soon. All the best, and we'll talk then.